Have you ever wanted free or cheap home decor, but you were afraid it was gonna look free or cheap? Well, today I've got some great ideas that will ignite your creativity, be very gentle on your wallet, but also look high-end and expensive. My video today is sponsored by BetterHelp. The inspiration for my first budget-friendly DIY came when I was looking online for some Valentine's Day decorations, and I saw this plate that had this really pretty blue heart in the center. I loved the polka dot design, but I didn't love the color and the price was just too high, but that's all right. We're gonna take inspiration from this plate and make our own. What I'm going to use is a plate from the Dollar Tree. They always have such a great variety of plates. I simply chose a plain white ceramic plate. It's a great neutral backdrop, and of course the price is right at only $1.25. Now I had to figure out how to get a heart design onto the plate and have it be permanent. Well, when I was at the Dollar Tree, I saw this glass paintbrush marker. I read the instructions on the back and it said if you draw a design on this and then put it in the oven for 30 minutes at 160 degrees, it will be permanent, and it's dishwasher and microwavable safe. So what do we have to lose for $1.25? And it was red, which is perfect for our heart. Now what we need next is a stencil. If you're a great free drawer, then you go ahead and draw harder on there. I am not, so I need a template. I'm going to make mine with some copy paper. I folded the paper in half, then I traced out half of the heart. I got out my scissors and cut it out. This is a great hack to get a symmetrical heart. Look at how fantastic that is. So what I'm going to do with my heart is get some double-sided tape and put it on the back and then press it to the center of my plate. Now I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to start to draw some polka dots around the perimeter of this paper heart. I added the dots very close together, almost side by side right now. I'm leaving a little space in between the polka dots. I added the dots all around the paper heart. Once I was finished with the tight line of polka dots, the next layer of polka dots was spaced out just a little bit further. I still kept the dots fairly close together. Then the next layer of polka dots was spaced out even further. The look that we're going for is a spray of polka dots bursting out from the heart. So as I get further and further towards the edge, I'm going to spread those polka dots out even further. We also want a lot of polka dots, so I added a whole bunch throughout our plate. Now that all my polka dots are drawn on, I'm going to remove the paper in the center. And look at how adorable our heart plate looks. I absolutely love the way that we've got the tight polka dots in the center and how it flares out towards the edges of the plate. My next step is to take my plate and put it inside of the oven at 160 degrees for 30 minutes. And now we have our beautiful Valentine heart plate. I actually made a mug with the same little heart design on it. Again, this is from the Dollar Tree, so we've got a little Valentine's Day set. And I actually already ran this through the dishwasher and everything is still intact. You can see, I mean, it's baked on there. It's not gonna go anywhere. So we know that this is going to stay on there permanently. You could create an entire Valentine's Day set of your own customized dishware. And for $1.25 for the plate, $1.25 for the mug, and $1.25 for the marker, we just spent a couple of dollars, which is so much less expensive than buying that heart plate that we saw online that was our inspiration piece. This could also be a great decorative piece. Just get a frame holder and pop this plate right on top of the frame holder. And now you have a beautiful decorative piece that was so easy to make and perfect for Valentine's. As we start a fresh new year, let's set our intentions high and our hearts open to greater personal development and growth. I have a gem for you today, and it's BetterHelp, your online therapy companion for the journey ahead.
And today's sponsor.
We all aim to be the best versions of ourselves, but hey, we're all human, and there are a lot of times where we struggle. That's where BetterHelp shines, providing a safe space for you to connect with licensed professionals who are ready to guide, listen, and support you every step of the way. Picture this, you've got access to top-tier
Therapists, marriage and family therapists, and more.
and you can access all of these professionals from the comfort of your home. BetterHelp breaks down the barriers to traditional therapy, making mental health care not only easily accessible, but tailored to your individual needs. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, touching the lives of over 5 million individuals, just like you, who are taking charge of their mental well-being and chasing their personal goals. They have a vast network of over 30,000 licensed therapists. BetterHelp is here to walk beside you on your journey to healing and self-discovery. We are all important, and so is our mental health. We deserve to be the best versions of ourselves. So to kick off this journey, I've got a great offer for you. You can take 10% off your first month of BetterHelp online therapy. I will leave a link to BetterHelp in my description box, so you can head on over to their website and check out all of the amazing services that they have. Our next free and cheap home decor project is free. What I did was I saved a leftover glass pickle relish jar, and that's what we're going to use to create a beautiful decor piece. I love the size of this pickle relish jar, and I know that each one of you have a glass jar somewhere in your fridge or your pantry that you can get out and use once it's empty. So the first thing I need to do is remove the label. So I simply just peeled that right off, and now I gave it a good wash, because no matter how pretty our decor piece is, if it smells like pickle relish, that's a dud. So I washed it out really well. Now we're gonna take our jar outside and we're gonna spray paint it in some Bare Gold Gloss spray paint. I made sure that the entire surface of this jar was completely coated in the spray paint. I don't want to see any exposed glass. Once the jar was covered in the gold spray paint, I let it dry for 1 hour. Now we're going to paint the lid. I actually forgot to take it out with the glass jar, so we're gonna paint it now. I made sure that this lid was completely covered in the gold spray paint. I did a thorough coat on the top because I didn't want to see any of the original wording coming through. Once it was covered, I let it dry for an hour. Now we want to beautify the center of our jar with something fancy yet affordable. I found this gorgeous lace scrapbook paper at Hobby Lobby, and I knew it would be the perfect choice to put in the center. Now our jar is much smaller than the height of this scrapbook paper. So what I'm gonna do is get some scissors, and I'm just going to cut out a lace strip that will go around the center of the jar. I love all of the intricate details, so I kept as much as I possibly could. I lucked out because the width of this paper goes around the entire circumference of our jar, so I only need to cut out one strip of lace scrapbook paper. To adhere the lace scrapbook paper to the center of our glass jar, I'm going to be using some Mod Podge and a sponge brush. What I did was I painted on the Mod Podge to the center of the glass jar first. Then I got my scrapbook paper and I placed it in the Mod Podge. I pressed the paper firmly to the jar so it would lay smooth. Now I can go back immediately over the scrapbook paper with the top layer of Mod Podge because the scrapbook paper is so thick, I'm not worried about it tearing. I added a liberal amount of this Mod Podge over the surface of the scrapbook paper. I made sure that it was completely covered. I also added extra Mod Podge to the top and the bottom of the jar. I didn't want to see any lines from the Mod Podge. I wanted everything to be cohesive. I simply just added the Mod Podge to the surface of the jar and the scrapbook paper. Once everything was covered, I let it dry for 1 hour. While the Mod Podge is drying, we are going to work on the lid. And because this is free or cheap, we're gonna take advantage of something that I already have. A couple months back for Christmas, I went to the thrift store and I got some lamps, and I turned those lamps into some bases for some Christmas trees. Well, the tops of the lamps had these gorgeous little crystal knobs on top. I've already used one of them. I added it to the top of a cloche, and I used that cloche in my nativity display. Well, I've got one left over. The problem with this knob is that it's really rusted and oxidized at the bottom, so we need to paint that or do something with it. So what I'm gonna do is get some blue painter's tape, and I'm going to cover up the crystal knob because we want to protect the knob. We are leaving the oxidized metal piece at the bottom exposed. What I'm going to use to change the color is some gold leaf rub and buff. I added a little bit of this rub and buff to a tissue, and I simply just wiped it all over the exposed metal. What I love about the rub and buff is that it works instantaneously. It's similar to a wax, so the dry time is 5 minutes. It's so fast, and look at how completely changed this metal piece is. The color now is fresh, clean, and cohesive. I removed the blue painter's tape from the crystal knob, and now we have a beautiful topper that we can put on top of the lid. To attach the knob to my lid, I'm just gonna be using hot glue. So I added a dab of hot glue to the center of the lid. If you wanted to make this more permanent, you could add some E6000 or even screw in a screw to the lid, but today the hot glue is gonna work out perfect for me. Now I'm going to take that lid and place it back on my jar, and look at how beautiful our jar looks now. It's completely transformed. One thing that I don't love about the lid of the jar is all those little indentations. That makes it look like a pickle relish jar, so I want to cover that up somehow. I have a beautiful pink satin ribbon. I'm going to wrap it around the lid and then tie the ribbon into a bow. The ribbon covers up the ridges on the lid beautifully. It looks so much better now. We're going to add one more detail. This is the last one, I promise. Okay, so what we're gonna do is create some hot glue bows using a silicone mold. I got this mold at Michael's. It's actually a treat mold. You can see where you can put the little sucker sticks in it, but we are going to use it to create some 3D bows. So what I did was I just got my hot glue and I filled up the mold with the hot glue. Once I had the hot glue in the mold, I shook it around a little bit. You want the hot glue to settle and get out as many air bubbles as you can. That way it's nice and smooth. Then I added hot glue to the second bow mold. Again, I'm gonna jiggle it so that the hot glue lays flat. You guys know the hot glue does not take very long to set, so after a couple of minutes, I was able to pop these hot glue bows right out of the silicone mold. Because the hot glue is transparent, you can't really see these bows, and we want to be able to do that, so I'm gonna take them outside and spray them in that same bare gold spray paint. Once the first side was completely covered in the spray paint, I let it dry for just about 10 minutes. I came back, flipped it over, and spray painted the other side. Once both bows were covered in the paint, I let it dry for an additional 10 minutes. Now I can take my bows back inside, and we are going to glue these hot glue bows to the ends of each of the tails of the ribbon. So I just added a dab of the hot glue to the end of the ribbon, and then I pressed the hot glue bow into the hot glue. Once the first side was done, I moved on to the second side of the ribbon. I added the hot glue, and then I pressed my bow into the hot glue. And now we are finished transforming our pickle relish glass jar. You would never know that this started out as a vessel for pickle relish, and I dug it out of the fridge after it was empty. Look at how beautiful this is, you guys. I love the scrapbook paper on it. The bow is just adorable, and our little 3D hot glue bows at the bottom, so cute. The topper is fantastic. It adds a little bit of sparkle. And of course, it was very affordable to make. You could do so many things with a glass jar like this. Of course, you could use it to display during this special time of year. You could also fill it up with some candy and give it away as gifts. You could put this in the bathroom and fill it up with some bathroom necessities, or you could even put a candle in the bottom. But wait, we're not done yet with our pickle relish jar, scrapbook paper, thrifted knob, hot glue bow decor piece. So what I'm gonna do is take the lid off of this, and I can fill it up with some flowers. These flowers are from the Dollar Tree, so they're extremely affordable. They're just these pretty little white hydrangeas. And now we have a beautiful way to display some flowers. You could put that ribbon back on to cover up the ridges here too, but this is just an example of how versatile this container can be. So did I sell you on using a pickle relish jar or some kind of glass jar that you have in your home? I hope so. You can see that if you are on a tight budget, you can still create beautiful home decor that you can feel good about and that will fit into your home seasonally or with the changing holidays, and you don't have to break the bank to create this. Speaking of not breaking the bank, for our next project, we are going to repurpose an item that I already have, and I'm sure the majority of you have this item as well. It is a beautiful vase. If this Chalice of Champions looks familiar, it's because I won this in the battle against Natalie in our 3-minute challenge. This gorgeous vase won me the victory, and Natalie was so kind that she bought this for me. So technically it is free for me. Natalie and I actually have another thrifting video coming up at the end of the month, so stay tuned for that. But what I'm gonna do with my gorgeous cut glass vase is I'm going to flip it over. I know it seems a little strange, but trust me, it's gonna work out beautifully. The next thing that I need is a block of floral foam, and we are going to place this foam on top of the upside down vase. I'm going to add some hot glue to the glass and then press the floral foam into the hot glue. Don't be worried about adding hot glue to glass. It will peel right off. I do it all the time. So right now we need this floral foam to be secured to the vase, but in the future I will be able to remove that hot glue and everything will be as good as new. In order to cut down costs, I am once again going to raid my floral stash and pull out all kinds of beautiful flowers. I've got some magnolias, I've got some roses and some peonies, all in shades of light pinks and whites. I'm going to start off by placing 3 magnolias in the center of the floral foam. I'm adding the largest flowers to the center because this is going to be the focal point. Next, I took the longer stems of the light pink flowers and put them on either side. Right now this looks a little asymmetrical, but after time you'll see that this design will all even out. Then I took all kinds of roses and peonies and poked those into the floral foam. I wanted a large arrangement that felt very bountiful and luxurious, and adding a whole bunch of flowers to the floral foam will give me that look. And if you don't have flowers just tucked away in a stash somewhere, you can purchase some really great ones at the Dollar Tree. I was there the other day and they have all kinds of flowers out for Valentine's. I love using these Dollar Tree flowers as filler flowers, meaning I like to spend a little bit more on the focal point flowers like the magnolias, but all the roses in there are from the Dollar Tree, and they are beautiful flowers that take up the space. And in no time, we have a gorgeous floral arrangement on top of the upside down glass vase. Could we leave it like this? Of course we could. Are we going to? No. So I'm gonna get some more of that pink ribbon, this gorgeous pink satin ribbon. I'm going to wrap it around the vase and tie it into a bow. Did you know that the Dollar Tree has silicone mats as well? So if you're looking for a silicone mat and don't want to spend a whole lot of money, head to the Dollar Tree. So this mold is going to help us to create some 3D hearts. I'm going to repeat the same process as I did with my hot glue bows. I got my hot glue and I filled up the silicone mold about halfway with the hot glue. Once I had enough glue in there, I gave it a good shake, which spread out the hot glue and released the air bubbles that may have been trapped. Then I added hot glue to the second mold. I did the exact same thing. I filled it halfway with the hot glue, jiggled it around to remove any air bubbles. I did not have to wait more than 5 minutes for this hot glue to solidify. I popped them right out of the silicone molds, and now I have these adorable hot glue hearts. There are some jagged edges around the heart, and what I'm gonna do is just get some scissors and trim the extra hot glue. That way the edges of the hearts are smooth. Because these hearts are transparent and you can't really see them, we need to fix that once again, so I'm gonna take them outside. And I'm going to reuse that same Gold Bear spray paint. I painted the top side of the hearts, and then I let them dry for 10 minutes, came back, flipped them over, painted the opposite side. Once they were completely covered in the spray paint, I let them dry for an additional 10 minutes. We're going to attach these hearts to the end of the ribbon with some hot glue. So I simply just added the hot glue to the end of the ribbon and then pressed my hot glue heart into the hot glue. Once I was finished with the first side, I did the exact same thing on the second side. I simply just added the hot glue to the end of the ribbon, took my hot glue heart and pressed it into the hot glue. I love the way that these gold 3D hearts just finish off this beautiful decor piece. You guys, we are done, and look at how stunning this floral arrangement is. I love the way that we repurposed this vase. By flipping it upside down, it gave us a fresh new perspective on a decor piece that we already have. The florals at the top are stunning. Look at how large this is too. Oh my goodness, such a statement piece. And then of course, we've got our classy pink satin ribbon with our gorgeous 3D hearts at the bottom. That makes this arrangement unique and one of a kind. And do you think maybe something like this would fit into a wedding? I don't know. I'm starting to get quite a collection of floral arrangements for this upcoming wedding. We've got this one. We've got the floral arrangement that we did on our fireplace mantle. We also have these beauties that we made with the custom candles and the flowers at the bottom. So everything's starting to come together. Hooray! We actually have a bridal shower this weekend. Natalie is hosting it. It's going to be at her house. So if you want to join in on some of the festivities, then make sure that you are following me over at Instagram. I'll be posting all kinds of videos on my stories this weekend about the bridal shower. But you guys, we are done with our free and cheap decor for today. I love the way that all of our pieces turned out. Hopefully you can see that you can live beautifully. You can do it on a budget, and you can do it by repurposing items that you already have in your home. You can use leftover jars and beautify them. You can make your home look expensive without breaking the bank. I've got a whole bunch of fun videos coming up for you guys. We've got some more DIY projects. We've got some more gorgeous decor pieces, and yes, we'll be doing some more wedding content. So make sure you're subscribed so you can join in on all of the fun. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for watching.